going to talk about how to find surface area. And surface area is the amount of area it takes to cover a three-dimensional object. And so this here is a net, and a net is a flat version of a three-dimensional object. So this is the net of a pyramid, and I'm going to do my best to draw just so you can see what I mean by I know that's a bad picture, but this is the net. This is if I take it kind of like a cereal box, if you were cutting a cereal box and flattening it out, or a cardboard box, a shipping box. This is the net. This is the item, the three-dimensional figure flattened. And the thing is, this net shows you all the faces. So I can see that this square pyramid has 5 faces. Well, surface area is the amount that it would take to cover this object. So the surface area is essentially the area of all the faces added up. Now you can go through and find the surface or find the area of each of the individual faces. So let's say that, sorry, that wasn't very straight, was it? Let's say that this is 6 meters, this is 5 meters, okay? I could essentially find the area of each of these triangles. They're congruent because it's a square pyramid. Don't go by I made these, and I know that I didn't exactly make them even, so I could find the area of each of these faces. Like this is a triangle, so the area of this face is, since it's a triangle, 1/2 of base times height. So I could do 6 times 5, which is 30, and half of that is 15. So I could say, okay, well, this one's 15, and since they're all congruent, each of these are 15, and this is a square in the middle. So if this is 5, that means this is also 5, so 5 times 5 is 25. So if I add all this up, 15 plus 15 plus 15 plus 15, I get 60, plus 25 is 85. So I can say, well, the surface area is 85 square meters. That's the surface area. But I can also use a formula, and that's what we've been doing in class. We've been using a formula for surface area. And so the formula for surface area of a square pyramid is surface area is equal to length times width plus 4 times 1/2 of base times height. And so I want you to get in the habit of every time writing these formulas out. It's just going to really help you make sure you don't skip anything, that you don't leave anything out, okay? And so the first formula we're gonna plug in. We're gonna plug everything in here. So surface area is equal to, the length and the width are referring to the square in the middle, and since this is a square, the length and the width are the same, so it's going to be 5 times 5 plus 4 times 1/2 of the base here. That's also the length or the width of the square, is also the base of the triangle. So the base is 5. And then the height is the height of the triangle, which is 6. So you can see that all I have done is I've gone through and I've said, okay, length, width, here's the 4, 1/2, base, and height. That's all I've done. Now, the tricky part here, though, is that you have to follow the order of operations, and you cannot just go through and say, okay, 5 times 5 plus 4 is 29, and then keep going. It doesn't work like that. You need to go through and do all this multiplying first, and then you're going to add them together in the end. Remember, you've got to follow the order of operations. So let's see, because you know I'm a color person, so let's change colors. So surface area is, I've got 5 times 5, which is 25, plus 5 times 6 is 30, and half of that is 15. So everything in this parentheses right here is equal to 15. Then I'm going to multiply that by 4, which is 60. I add them together, and I get 85, and it's square meters, because our unit is squared since we're talking about area. So this is 85 square meters, which is the same thing that we found out before, finding the area of each of the individual faces. Okay. This here is a rectangular prism. And let's just say that, this is, sorry, I'm trying to, let's say this is 3 meters, let's say this is 2 meters, and let's say this is 4 meters. It really doesn't matter which one's the length, width, or height on here. You'll see when I write the formula out that it's all going to work out the same anyway. Like I may say that this is the height of the rectangular prism when it's folded, because this this is the net. That's not a square, sorry. All right, so this is the net of a rectangular prism, and that's what it looks like put together. And so it really doesn't matter. Like I may say that this is the height, but then when I turn it up on its side, it may look like it's the width. So it really doesn't matter which one's which one's the length, width, or height. Just make sure that you designate one the length, one the width, and one the height. Your answer is going to work out the same either way. All right, so I'm going to write the formula out, and the formula for surface area of a rectangular prism is 2 times length times width plus 2 times length times height. Oops. Sorry. My H's do that sometimes. Plus 2 times width times height. And the reason is you've got the opposites are going to be the same. So like this one and this face, these two faces are going to be width times height. And then you're going to have two faces that are going to have the same area. And then you're going to have these two faces are going to have the same area. So that's why it's length times width, and then times 2, because two faces have that same area. And then length times height times 2, because two faces, and so on. Okay? So now I'm going to go through and plug everything in. So surface area is 2 times 4 times 3 plus 2 times 4 times 2. I'm sorry, that doesn't look very nice. Plus 2 times 3 times 2. So then I go through here, and again, you've got to follow the order of operations, and you've got to do all your multiplying first. And I know that that looks a little funny, but so we're going to do all the multiplying first. And 2 times 4 is 8, times 3 is 24. 2 times 4 is 8, times 2 is 16. 2 times 3 is 6, times 2 is 12. So when I add this all together, I get 52, and it's square meters, because again, we're squaring our units because we're talking about area, or yeah, surface area. A cube, area of each face of a cube is it's just going to be the length of the side. So if this side is 5 meters, this area is 25, because each side is 5. 5 times 5 is 25, and so on, and so on. So because we have 6 faces here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, where each face has an area of side squared, the formula for surface area here is 6s squared. So just to show you how the formula works, I'm going to go through and I'm going to plug it in. I'm going to say, okay, well, surface area is equal to 6 times the length of the side is 5 squared. Well, order of operations says that we do exponents before we multiply. And so when I do my exponent, 5 squared is 25, so I've got 6 times 25, which when I do the math ends up being 150, and then since we're dealing with meters and its area, it's going to be square meters. Alright, and then the last one is a cylinder. And let's see, let's make this 10, and let's make this, I don't know, 3. We'll go 3 meters, okay? Surface area of a cylinder is 2 pi r squared, because you've got 2 circles here. They're the same. Area of a circle is pi r squared, so 2 pi r squared, plus 2 pi r h. This is the height of your cylinder. If you can imagine your cylinder being, and I know this doesn't look very nice, but if you can imagine the cylinder being rolled up, you've got your 2 circles, and then you've got that rectangle that wraps around the middle. Well, the rectangle is the diameter of the circle, because this edge is going to wrap, it's hard to show you on a computer screen and not in person, but this edge is going to wrap all the way around the circumference of the circle, which that'll be the length of this side right here. Because if we want to find the area of all this right here, we need to multiply the length of this side times this. Well, this is the height. That's the 10 meters. The 2 pi r is the same thing as circumference of a circle. So this edge right here is the same thing as the circumference of the circle, if you imagine it wrapped around and closed. So that's where the surface area formula comes from. So now I'm going to go through and plug it in, and this one takes a little bit longer to plug in just because you've got the pi's. So it's 2 times pi, which we're going to use 3.14, and radius is 3, so radius squared is going to be 9, 3 squared is 9, plus 2 times pi is 3.14, times my radius, which is 3, times my height, which is 10. And again, we've got to follow the order of operations and do all the multiplying first before we add everything together, okay? And so that is going to be all right, this side is 56.52 plus, and then this side is 62, oh wait, no, sorry, 188.4. That doesn't sound right. I guess it is. Okay, so plus 188.4. And I add them together. And I get 244.92, and it is square meters. So that surface area is 244.92 square meters.